everyone, this is Richard again for another edition of Learning with Rich. So for today's topic, what I'm going to show you is how to modify a standard component family. So component family is also called loadable family. It is one of the types of families in Revit. So we have the component family or loadable family. The second one is system family. And then the third type is in-place family. Okay, so typically the loadable families or component families that you need to create are standard sizes and configurations of common components and symbols used in a building. So in this exercise that I'm going to do is I'm going to modify the property and then the geometry of a simple door. Okay, so I'm going to modify that. So to begin with, I'm going to use a standard architectural template. Okay, and then after that, I'll just create here a wall because as you know, our door is a wall-hosted family. So we need to create first a wall for us to be able to place our door. It's logically, right? So I just create any size, any length of your wall as long as you can place there the door. And then after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select here the door tool. And then after that, I'm going to load the door that I want to modify. Okay, so I select and then I'll just go to my desktop. So this is the door that I want to load to my project. And then after that, I'm just going to place it here. And I'll just select modify. So if I change my view to the 3D view, so it looks like this. So I'll just type SD for shaded view. Okay, so this is the door. So what I want to do is I want to edit this door. Okay, so I want to modify this component family by creating parameters and geometry in it. Okay, so I'll start creating parameters in the door family. So to do that, I'm going to select this door. And then after that, as you can see, there's the mode panel. So I'm going to select here edit family. Okay, there you go. So this is now the family editor of that said family. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my view to elevation view. Okay, if you want to use this door, so you can just message me and then I'm going to share this door to you so you can follow the exercise. Okay, so I'm going to change my view to interior view. So I'll just double click that, and then as you can see, you have here reference planes, and then you also have here parameters. Okay, so to begin, I'm going to create first a reference plane. Okay, so as you can see, currently in this view, they already created the reference plane, and then after that, they have the parameters. So we are going to create also the reference plane. So let's say in this exercise, we want to add a kick geometry on our door. So I call it kick. So this kick that we are going to create, we're going to make it visible and invisible so that you have an option for your door if you want to show the kick geometry or if you want to hide it. So you have an option. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a reference plane. All right. And then I'll just create a horizontal reference plane. The length is not critical to this exercise. So after I create the reference plane, I just select modify. And then after that, as you can see, they after they create the reference plane, the next procedure that you're going to do is to add for this typical exercise. So you need to add first a dimension. Okay, so I'm going to select this tool to add dimension. So I select this, and then after that, I select the reference plane and then the level here. And then I just click another point to place the dimension. And then I select again modify. Now, you notice that their dimensions has names, right? So because they already created the parameter. So that is what we are going to do next. So after we create the reference plane, after we create the dimension, so you need to create a parameter. So how to create a parameter? Okay, the first option to create a parameter is to select the dimension, and then after that you need to select label here. Okay, so as you can see, there's no parameter. Let's say the parameter that you are looking for is not here. All right, so what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to create a parameter by selecting these family types. Okay, because if you already have the parameter that you need, you just need to select the dimension, and then you can click the drop down arrow here, and then you just need to select the parameter that you want. But let's say, for example, the parameter is not here. So what you can do is you can select this icon here to create parameter. Or you can actually go here and then there is an option there to create a parameter also. But this is much easier. So you just need to select create parameter in Revit 2017. Okay, and then after that, the parameter that I want to create here, let's say I'll just call it, that is my kick height. Kick height. All right, and then I'll just place this parameter to my type properties. So I'll just ensure that type is selected. And then I just want to put it under the group dimension. All right. So the type of parameter is length, discipline is common. So this is the name. So after that, I select OK. There you go. So there's already the name of the parameter. Okay. If you want to test out if your parameter is working or not, so you need to flex. So you just need to select this icon here. Okay, so you just select that. That is the next thing that you need to do. Always check if the parameter that you create is working or not. You need to flex it. Okay, so I'll check my kick height parameter if it is working. So I select this. And then as you can see, there's the kick height, right? So if you click, it highlights to your model. Right? So that is one of the new feature in 2017. Okay, so you click and then you can change the value. So let's say I'll change this to 600 and then I apply. So you will notice it's working, right? The parameter is following whenever I change the dimension. So let's say 800, right? So it's working, okay? 400, apply. So it's working. Okay, so another way, instead of specifying the exact value, you can also use the formula. Okay, so let's say for example you want to reference your kick height to the width. Okay, so you can use the width as a reference to your kick height. So what do I mean? So I can use that for my formula. So let's say I'll type here width over 2. So meaning to say, every time I change my width, the value of my kick height will be half of my width because that's my formula. Alright, so after that, I'll select apply. You will notice this value will change. Take a look. There you go, right? So it becomes 460. So 460 times 2, that is 920. Okay, so just make sure the parameter that you're going to use, okay, they are having the same name. So it is you need to specify if it is capital letters, make sure it capital also, the W. So you cannot type small w. Okay, so you need to key in the exact dimension of your model because let's say for example I change that to small w and then I will apply, so cannot. Why? Because make sure the formula that you're going to key in here has the same name of the parameter because it is case sensitive. Okay, so it's case sensitive, so you need to key in the exact name, right? Okay, and then I'll just select OK. All right, so after I create that parameter, so the next thing that I'm going to do now is to create the geometry to this door family. So I want now to create the kick geometry. So to do that, so I'm going to select the create tab, and then this time I'll use the extrusion tool, solid extrusion. So I select this, And then I'm gonna make sure that the geometry that I will be creating will be placed on this face. That's why before I create the extrusion, I'll just set first the work plane just to make sure. Okay, so I select set work plane, and then I'm gonna select here pick a plane. So I'm going to pick the plane and then okay. Then after that, I'm going to make sure select elements by face here is selected, so that when you place your pointer to this face, as you can see, it's now highlighted, right? So we want to pick this face to place the work plane. Okay, so make sure this is checked so that it would be easier for you to highlight this face, right? So I'll just select, make sure when you select a pick a plane, okay, all right, you select this face, okay, click, there you go. So the work plane now is on this face. So I'm now going to create the shape of the kick by using rectangle, and then I'll pick here 1, 2. Okay, and then as you can see, there are padlocks there, so make sure you lock it. Okay, you click that lock icon, click that, click that. So why do we need to lock it? So that when we change the kick height, our geometry will follow also. If I change the kick height to 500, our geometry will change also to 500. If we change the width, the geometry will follow also. That's why we need to lock it to that line and then to that reference plane. Okay, that is the importance of locking your sketch. Okay, and then after that, for the thickness of my kick here, let's say the thickness is just 5 mm. So I change the thickness, the depth of my kick. So I just change that to 5 and then check. Okay, I just select modify to deselect, and then if I go to the 3D view, so it looks like this. Wait, I'll just turn on the thin lines. There you go. I type SD for shaded view. So this is now my kick. Okay, now what I want to do is I want the user to have an option if they want to show the kick or not. Okay, so let's say they want to have a door that has a kick, and let's say they want to have a door that doesn't have a kick. So I'm going to create a parameter that will allows me to do that. Okay, so how to create a parameter? So another way to create a parameter, because a while ago we already created parameter. If you remember, we created the kick height parameter. Okay, so this time to create the parameter that we want, another option, so you just need to select family types. And then after that, I'm going to select here new parameter. All right. So same window like what we have a while ago when we created the kick height parameter. Now for the name, so let's say I'll just call it kick. The discipline is common. This time, the type of parameter that I'm going to use is yes, no. Okay, so I can select yes if I want to show the kick. I can select no if I want to select, or if I want to show if I do not want to show the kick. Right, so yes, no parameter, and then I'm going to group it under visibility. All right, so I select visibility. There you go. And then again, I just put it, this time I'm going to select instance. All right, the first parameter that we created, which is the kick height, we place it under type, right? This time, this kick parameter, I'm going to place it on my instance property. So I'm going to show you later what's the difference. So I'll just select first OK. There you go. So you now have this visibility. If you see there's the default, if you see the default word here, meaning that particular parameter that you just created is under instance parameter. Okay, if there's no default word, meaning that is under type parameter. Okay, just to give you an idea. So after creating the visibility parameter, so I just select here OK. There you go. And then I'm going to apply the visibility to my kick. So I select the kick, or select the elements that you want to apply the visibility, and then there is this visible parameter on your properties. Now what I want to do is I want to associate that element to the parameter that I just created. So I'm going to select this button, and then there you go. So there's now the parameter that I created, and then I select OK. Okay, so it will look like this. So that visibility parameter that I created, the kick parameter, is now associated with this element. Okay, so this is how it looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to load this door to the project that I created a while ago. So I select load into project, and then I'll just select here overwrite the existing version and its parameter values. Okay, you just need to orbit to the other side. There you go. So as you can see, the door here on my project 3 is now updated. And another thing, if I select the door here, remember my kick parameter, when I added that to my instance properties, that's why, well, as you can see, there's the kick. Because if you select an element, the family here is, or the properties that you're seeing here is called instance properties. So if you select here edit type, this is what we call type properties. That's why you will see here the kick height parameter, right? Because when we created the kick height, we assigned it to type properties. That's why it's here. Now, when we created the kick parameter, we assigned it to our instance properties. That's why it's here on the instance properties. So you see? So you have an option if you want to turn off, right? Or you can turn on. Okay? So let's say I'm gonna create a new door. So I click this, right click, I create similar. So I just place it here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, and then I select modify. So let's say I do not want to show the kick here, so I can click this. And then I can uncheck, right? Okay. Or you can also select multiple doors or multiple elements by using window selection like this, or using clicking one by one. You just need to hold your control to select another elements, right? And then after that you can click, right? Okay, so what is the difference between the instance properties and then the type properties? So in the instance properties, any changes that you made here to these properties will only affect the selected element or elements. That's why if I select these two elements and then I uncheck this, it only affects these two elements. It did not affect the other three elements, right? But if you change property or parameter to your type properties, it will affect this type. So if this type of door is loaded in a project, let's say it's loaded here, I have here 5 type of this door. Okay, so if I change here the kick height, let's say I change that to 600, so you will notice all of them will be modified, right? You see? The other 3 doors updated, right? Of course, you will not be able to see the kick here because we turned it off, right? So I'll just select OK. So let's say I turn it on. I turn on. So you will notice it changes also, right? So that's the difference between the instance properties and then type properties. So for the instance properties, it affects only the selected element or elements. Okay? So if I change here, for example, the seal height of the door to 1000, you will notice it only affects this door. Okay? Any changes that you made on your instance properties, it will only affect the selected element or elements. But if you change the type properties, if you inserted this door into your project, let's say you inserted 5 doors of this type, and then you change the parameter here, it will affect all the doors here. That's why another tip, do not just simply change, for example, the sizes here. Okay, so make sure whenever you change parameter, you duplicate first. Otherwise, it will overlap all the elements that you have here. Let's say in your mind, you want to change the kick height of this to 600, and then suddenly you change 600. You didn't know that all of these elements already changed to 600, which is, let's say, for example, you do not want. All right? So just make sure before you change parameter here, make sure you duplicate it first. And then you just change the name accordingly, and then after that, okay. All right? So that you now have that type. So this type is now saved, right? From being overridden because you already have this type. So after you create the type, you can change the name, and then after that, that's the time you can now change the parameters on the type properties. All right? So hope that is clear. And that's how basically, that is the basic way to create your component or modify a component or standard loadable family. So if you have any questions, if you had any comments or suggestions to this video, just put your comment below on this on the comment section, and then I will get back to you as soon as I can. All right? So you can, if you want to chat with me directly, you can install QuipSpear. So I'm going to put the description below. So you can install the QuipSpear, and then you can just chat directly with me. All right? Thanks. That's all for this simple exercise. Hope you like it. And until then, bye-bye.